3 games left, Monster. Just 3 games remaining in this tournament. And already for the last 3 games that we've seen that leaderboard shuffle up so much, from Cold and Rapid being in first, Curve and Veno having a chance to now Peterbot and Poyo being on top. And even that race at the bottom for the bubble, the top 13, 2 points separates going to Dusseldorf and having to go and try one more time.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. Teams like Clix and Higgs now are suddenly finding themselves in a whole different type of scenario, right? Where they have to fight for being in the top 13 at this point. Trying to get the championship win is starting to be pushed out of the question. Curve and Veno, though, switching up their strategy a bit, opting to go a little bit more aggressively to the north side, trying to see maybe if there was something here to be, of course, earned. But look at this, nice little llama. Be happy about that.
Was Curve contested, or did he get those out of the sky? That's just my biggest question.
I don't know.
Yeah, either way, it's just a testament of, like, whether it's the beginning, middle, or end of these games. I don't know what they ate for breakfast, but I need to order me 2 of those because they are just firing on all cylinders. QK, Contrap, they had such a great moment to end the day yesterday. Most of us didn't even know where he came from. That first place, 8 eliminations, that bursted them inside of the bubble. Today, however, hasn't necessarily been going their way, but they are still so close to contention. They just need to close out strong.
You know, what I'm thinking about is Veno and Curve. Veno's probably telling Curve, like, bro, be on the lookout. Do not be surprised if Peterbot and Poyo land this, you know? Because their drop is technically big enough. And if you know Veno, he's got that main character energy, right? So does Peterbot. Like, Peterbot, the way he treats Clix in a finals or any other rivalry that's neck to neck, he will definitely land on someone like Veno as well, just because the storyline will be so exciting to watch. And they're all that close right now.
Yeah, 20. Neko just trying to go ahead and get out of a bad spot. Both of them kind of separated. Like, Lex got a good opportunity here. Took too long to go ahead and execute on that chance, so they're going to be forced to disengage as Neko nice along the 20, trying to push them back further and further. And that's the thing about these split drops, to where if you don't go ahead and get those eliminations on the contested drop, it makes finding that loot that much harder. Mako Blanks going ahead and pressing on the Muss outside of the Riptides. They have a good 2v1 opportunity here, but they're continuously trading shots. Muss not going down without a fight. Another chance there as he lands another big tag. 26 HP, even the knock on the Blanks. He has a chance to 2v1. In comes Liquid as Duo finally arrived. They clean up that elimination, that the party does not stop here. Threats and Veer, who are once inside of the bubble, fell out, are ready to make up for those mistakes early on. They have the Fizz, they have the Shockwave. They're trying to close the gap and figure out exactly where he went. Heard the noise onto Mako, so they're just going to drop down and try to clean up this Elim.
Doing a great job chasing them down right now. Veer's got full sights here. Threat's got control of the coast as well. Should be another tag, and unfortunately they don't quite find it, but this is still great damage, and they want these points right there. Again, found themselves in the top 10 and then fell within around that 15th place range after slipping out. So Veer and Threat still have some big games to be out here.
Just getting more and more crowded over here towards the Riptide. Got Nick and Skinny Cat moving on over. Threats and Veer kind of gave up positioning, chasing for that Elim. Then you have Muss and Liquid on the other side of Riptide. So even though they were able to get the couple of eliminations there, I think they advanced their position all too much. Higgs and Clicks, they get the legendary drop this time out of Wonky Land. Better chance at those rare chests, more gold. And already at their POI, they almost get maxed mats at that mini game. They have the Wonky Wheel, so they have everything they need in terms of finding success. And early on, obviously, it is only the first zone. It seems like it is moving on over the western side of the map.
Last time we saw them pull a zone like this, though, Jacob, they did win the game, right? If it came this way. Hicks and Higgs calling on some connects here to try to make something big happen at this point.
Cold and Rapid. If you getting that feeling of deja vu at all, I can agree. They're not changing up their strategy. They don't even go underneath Dark Dominion unless they have to. Cold just kind of builds up towards the top. Not only does he have to aim with those shotguns, he's going to be the primary source of fighting their surge. Rapid, the big brain, the IGL of this team so far, has been rotating them very, very well in the good portion of the games. But the last two, I think those are going to be the ones that hurt the most. 10 plays, 4 eliminations, 17 plays with 1 eliminations, kind of giving up that top spot on the leaderboard.
Rituals on the other side here. Bit of a quiet rotate for them right now, but close to this Dark Dominion. So I am curious what the strategy here is in the coming moments. They've almost continued to position themselves around some of that competition up on the standings. Acorn and Bolts on the other side. Bolts is very situated right now.
Yeah, I think he looks down towards the Ferris wheel. It's fully blocked off for that direction, so no easy peeks from there. Has to look elsewhere. Over towards Latte landing though, where Power and Penta make themselves known. At the Reek and Cooper drop spot, back on over towards that launch pad, typically where the primary source of rotation goes through. Cooper down below, tries to go for a cheeky shot onto Power, but he regrets that one momentarily. Pressure continues to fly his way, but Reek was able to find an opening onto Power, gets the shield gone just like that. But they're just taking so much damage from the Storm itself. Yeah, they have to get in the same box, heal up with those flashes, because they were one shot away from going down.
Separates them from the top 13 lane spot right now. They cannot afford to fall here. Reek and Cooper do enough to push this team off, but at what cost? You saw them again healing a bunch, so we can't even tell if they're actually out positive after this exchange right now.
Oh, well, they don't want to get the elimination code for free. They get the good damage onto Power, they shockwave, they fizz, they close the distance, and now they get the knock. Instead of cleaning up instantly, they know they're going to take damage from the Storm. Let the Siphon do its thing. Reek's going to go on the chase. Sees Penta trying to run away, and he's just trying to follow suit. The only thing is, he only has 1 shockwave left, so yep, he's going to have to use the fizz to really make that shockwave worth it. Getting up on top of that mountain. That's going to give him a huge bird's eye view to try to figure out where Penta actually ran to. Spots the builds in the distance, safe landing into the water. But he is so far away from Cooper now, that gives Penta a 1v1 if he can just figure out it actually is a 1v1.
There's no way. He's off. He's already going right back to the bottoms, thinking that they came together. But Cooper's here waiting to catch him. More good damage here. Now, this is starting to track what seems to be other duos here in the area that are just kind of sticking to their usual rotates right now. You have to be careful, but there it is. Finally, they clean things up here at the Latte landing. Be a great 2-piece elimination for them, giving them that little bit of cushion that they were looking for here. They're not quite safe again inside the top 13 just yet, but they are there now after the 8 points they earned there. Meanwhile, Visual and Braids, what is this? This is a completely different strat.
Even got me shaking my head, scratching it, trying to wonder what went wrong. Typically, we see a team like this spread out on these mountain ranges that you see there in the minimap, and that's how they get a lot of their serves. This time around, maybe trying to wait for somebody to lurk in late, find something. Hopefully, they make a mistake. Timing, if it doesn't work out though, might put them behind the rest of the curve as QK and Khan find themselves an elimination over here towards Painted Palms. Instead of going on a wild goose chase though, they're gonna let that solo player run away. Maybe they could turn back and get the elimination later. We know we're gonna go for a reboot eventually, but for QK and Khan, man, this is gonna be a good start to the game. Get that damage early, and once you got that Storm Surge damage early, it kind of opens up flexibility to be able to focus on the rotation instead of just getting damage.
Talk about those eliminations too. I'm gonna be keeping close eyes on Visuals and Breed. Might not pay off. We'll just have to see. Beautiful Boya though, back to the same trusty strategy, keeping this huge surge tower. This just seems to work out a lot better for them, and then pushing teams that they tend to weaken on the way. From Peterbot's duo up top.
Yeah, they spotted that one out quick. Saw the surge base, saw the window open. Unlike some of the other surge bases where there is no top on their base, you can kind of, you know, crouch, uncrouch, peek over, not really give yourself away. But Peterbot built it in a way to where it's impossible to get shockwaved on for free. So usually we always talk about Peterbot and foil hunting teams down. I'm getting in the back of my head. Maybe they're prepared if worse comes to worse. That happens to them. They are the team to beat after 8 games so far. I should say 9 games. We're here in game 10. Let's see if that lead goes away. Muzz and Sphinx over towards Humble Hills. Zone moving on over towards Squibbly Shores. We talked about last time Clicks and Higgs had his own move over in this favor. I think everybody here on this side of the map has just been gifted a little bit of opportunity, which includes Muzz and Sphinx, who's currently positioned 8th on the leaderboard.
Done really good today, too. 2nd place in that first game, 12th and then a 10th, right? So a lot of in-game appearances so far for Muzz and Sphinx. Bucky and Zen. So on pace right now. Great opportunity to contact that with Nut and Prom. Zone's going to be coming in shortly, so going to make quick work of this team here. They get going themselves.
You know, watching this sometimes, you just got to have a lot of patience, because there's a lot of moments to where you typically would think, I got to rotate to zone, I don't want to take the damage, I want to beat other teams there, but sometimes it's just more beneficial, especially if you have the white HP heals, to go ahead and just bide for your time. Let the Storm do its thing, force other players at their hands, depending on what situation they're in. Should you have a little bit more control of your games. Curve and Venno, a different approach already. You know, in the last couple games, we see them very, very early on try to be the team on the high ground and really condition the rest of the lobby. This time around, just like we saw Visuals and Braids, taking a whole different approach. Slowing things down and just minimizing the risk of them actually getting eliminated.
You already have 2 eliminations too, so they're feeling pretty good about their overall damage, but as we start talking about the way this zone played out, it's going to be Clicks and Higgs who have this monstrous base set up here at the Wonky Land, as the zone has favored them for quite some time here, and there's plenty of extra moves to work with as well, so he's going to have to pick and choose here what they want to take on the road with them.
Plenty of time to wait. The zone is moving towards the south. They have their wonky wheel. They have their combination of both the fizz and the shockwave to really dodge a lot of the teams at the earlier portions of that zone. Kind of move out of render distance, make it easier for them to move in. And you see the zone is kind of pulling off the shores of Squibbly over into more of the mainland. And this is where you do have a few different mountain ranges that will be in play. So rotations being quick, that is of the essence here. That's where you see now, for all those other players that have waited until this zone to try to move their way in, you're seeing Cold and Rapid, they're pulling that edge of the zone. Instead of going straight in, they know this side of the map is more than likely uninhabited by a lot of the players, so they're just going ahead, taking a slow approach yet again. They don't seem to be in a worry, and they don't seem to be desperate to make any big plays.
Yep, and they got little bushes to play with as well here, so with the zone coming back their way, look at that, they have a nice little ambush set up there. All the teams rotating in. Peterbot still finds himself safe in the positioning here. So long as they found their damage, they'll be just fine. Majors and Ritual haven't really moved either since rotating their last position here. They're only 83 above, so this is a much more precarious situation to be in.
It might look good. It might look good now with the damage being above the threshold, but you know as well as I do, the way that some of these games have been going, you'll be above in one zone and then instantly fall below in the next. We need to get down to a certain minimum of players for each and every one of these zones as the game does progress until it eventually does turn off down to 40 players overall. So they're really playing, tiptoeing with that line when it comes to Surge. Cold and Rapid, similar situation, only 140 might be. About 30 damage is going to get taken off of that Surge.
One thing to note though, they are in a prime position here. Don't let that material count fool you. They are getting late into the end game here. A little bit of Storm full luck here, and you'll be in a great spot to be in. Overall, though, Peterbot and Boyo, the same can be said for them. They have this high ground base. They've had the zone this entire time. They're finding a tremendous amount of damage from this advantageous spot, and now they get to shockwave out and play into the Dark Dominion. So this is actually Cold and Rapid's draw spot. And again, normally when you get the drop, obviously, we've seen those teams turn these opportunities, if you will, into huge wins, if not better. But again, that is to be determined, as now we're starting to push that end game. Venno and Curve hitting on the vending machine, trying to see if anyone was willing to come this way. Clearly, some people got a little too close to the fire and got burned here. Monster, this is another Venno and Curve elimination off the same team. They just can't catch a break from them.
Yeah, and I know the game's still going on, but with those eliminations there, they take first place in the tournament. Placement points haven't set in. It's going to continue to jumble, but the leaderboard actually is through and through. A Am I watching a replay? Am I watching another clip? Peterbot and Poyer opportunity, and it's on to Veer. That is going to be a heartbreak right there if Threads cannot clutch out some good points in this game. He is only 4 points away from that bubble.
Yeah, they were doing so well after finding those 2 elims, and now lose your teammate kind of Veer's gonna be that much more tougher. Well, you have to make at least 20 or 30 points. As we were jumping away, I think I saw Venno find another elimination there too, so the rotates are clearly working well. Yep, here it is. We get to jump in with that. Things are just starting to get really pieced together for them. Take a look here. They find the lobby focus on credit. It just can't work any better for them now. So all that matters here for them is just going to be key positioning, playing for the end game. No one's in that base up top either. Somewhat of a vacant Storm Surge base from before. The zone has bounced back. Acorn and Bolts are still in this game as well right now. Barely holding on to us. They found themselves only 20 above. I see Clicks and Higgs there in the distance too. Meanwhile, Peterbot continuing to find eliminations.
Yeah, to start the game, Venno and Curves, 2 off-spawn elims, put him in first. Peterbot gets an elim, they take first back. Venno and Curve get a couple more elims that pushes them in first, and now they take it right back. We're literally ping-ponging as this game goes on between first and second place, but you still got Cold Rapid, Angels, and Ritual. Acorn and Bolts all still in the mix, and you can't forget about Clicks and Higgs. All it takes is one moment to catch fire in these next 3 games to really kind of shut everything up. They do have that gold Chaos, they got the purple AR, they got Slap Pizza, they got Fizz, they got Shockwave, they got all the resources necessary to have a good game here. But the zone might play a huge role depending on where it goes. I see it moving towards the south. We're going back in and through Dark Dominion. So even though we got those buildings we need to worry about, it's not as drastic as a North Pole and all those mountain ranges.
Jacob, I also saw Visual Embrace still alive as well, so it seems like their risky play did pay off there. The bottom right there is still fully healthy. Clicks and Higgs opting to go for high ground here. Once again, this time, as early as the 8th zone, while teams are playing pretty close to second height. So this is extremely risky. Hobby and Aminish still in the game as well. But Clicks with the big elim onset enough there. He doesn't get too risky either, right? He allows the boot to fall there. Comes to back up his teammate Higgs here up top. It's Bucky and Zen who are trying to fight for it, though.
Yeah, and this is literally first in place, staring at each other through the wall. And I think Peterbot knows that danger's around the corner, tries to go up. Shockwave above, makes the play onto Zen. Nobody does that as a solo, and he's even backing down Bucky. They have the confidence to go up to challenge Clicks and Higgs, but now it's falling short with Peterbot storming him down.
Just doesn't get better, you know, he's just sticking to the game plan. He's like, you know what? We want to come into these games and play for high ground. It's what's going to open up positioning for me. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. But Clicks and Higgs, of course, have the same strategy too. Peterbot tries to bail off, of course, but it's not going to be enough. Clicks has just got his number this time.
This is an opening. Curve and Venno needed. Bolts is by himself down below. Acorn is gone as well. Another top team sent back to the lobby. Not only Curve and Venno's chance to increase that lead for first place, even with Cold and Rapid still alive, but for Clicks and Higgs to play catch up here. They have the high ground. A lot of the teams are already out of their path, but another one sends it towards the north. Another team is trying to battle up above for the high ground. Meanwhile, Cold and Rapid has let all the dust settle. You guys can have it up above. We'll smoothly walk through that finish line.
Don't forget, Hobby and Aminish were in 6th place coming into this. They have a chance to fight for first as well, and they're trying to just show us that they have life in them as they go up, but Clicks and Higgs is willing to battle it back on over into their head. They're really just wrestling for high ground right now, and it's cost them so much material. Clicks and Higgs have almost given away the win condition at this point if they can't catch this refresh.
Yeah, you see Curve and Venno just waiting in the shadows
so smart.
For a moment just like this. Everything up above is expended, but they're actually looking down below. Look at the material count, the lack of resources. They might have what they need to take the high ground, so Clicks and Higgs have to give it up. Hobby in the minutes, you said it yourself, from top 6 to start this game. This is their chance to increase their positioning, but Venno's backs up against the wall. 6 builds, tries to find his way to the front side of the zone while using the bare minimum. Curve ends up in a scuffle against Clicks. No builds left. He's going to have to reposition, and now Clicks is by himself, 2 HP. A quick peek from Venno. He returns back to the scene of the crime to take down his former teammate.
Unfortunately, he did lose Curve in the process. He finds Prom here as a solo, but no, Nut comes to back him up, and then he has to back off here completely. Look at this. Veno didn't even get to pick up any mats either. So now he's down to 4 builds. But hey, look, inside the top 10 now, still earning points. But you have Cold and Rapid making up for time lost. But Veno's still going. Down goes Taki too. And now he's at 9 eliminations here, Jacob.
This is a legacy at its finest. Veno is really trying to put on, not only for himself, not only for Curve, but the entire EU region, saying, hey, look, it could be that easy. Cold and Rapid, though, still a big pain in their side, but Rapid goes down. Buzz and Sphinx drop down from above. This is literally chaos at its finest.
This is crazy. The points here being added up. Meanwhile, Veno's just soaking up placement points because the lobby's doing the hard work for him. And he goes in the monstrous shot onto Ritual. Oh my gosh. Veno just continues to do it time and time again. And don't count him out just yet. That's another huge shot. The Fullberry miss drops too. Can he get some time to pop it? There it is. Tries to break out through the top. Look at the game sense, the awareness to break out of the dangerous layer. Veno is firing on all cylinders right now, and he is still going.
I can't believe what we're witnessing. Veno is taking over in this endgame, but he has to be careful. The only solo left. He goes up for a finish